Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Vinny Ocean, and this is my assistant, Clem Fandago. Today we are reviewing the World War II Colt 1911 pistol mod. So I know this gun is pretty popular in the mod community and has quite a few reviews, but I noticed one thing that I don't see a lot in mod reviews is them taking the gun out and showcasing it in combat as an early build and then late build. Also, there's a gap to be filled on like what you can actually do with the mod, where to find it, all that good stuff. So hopefully, if you're like me and you want all those details before you actually start creating a build or seeing if this gun actually matches with what you're trying to do or accomplish in your playthrough, then maybe this will help you out. Alright, so here is the actual title of the mod. It's a World War II Colt 1911 of Freedom. It utilizes 45 caliber rounds, which is nice. I like that the details in here. A lot of mods I download, sometimes they don't even list what the caliber rounds they are. So you can find it in the Museum of Freedom or make it at the Chem Lab. And all the details and the credit I'll make sure and list in the description of the video as well. So the really cool thing about this gun is you can find it, like I mentioned, in two places. One in the Museum of Freedom. So if you don't want to make it in the Chem Bench, you want to kind of role play that your character finds it in the Commonwealth, well, there you go. If you don't want to wait, you want to have it right away, it could be made at the Chem Lab. Cool thing about this gun is it doesn't require you to have gun nut 1, 2, or 3 in order to get it right away. Some of the mods I've downloaded sometimes require you to have perks and points into certain things that you don't get till like level 25, 30, 39, whatever. And so you could be waiting a really long time before you actually get it. Or if it is also in the Commonwealth, it's sometimes very, very far away into areas you definitely don't want to go in early game if you're playing on survival mode, for example. The details of this gun are, like I mentioned, are absolutely amazing. I love that there's some inscription on the side of the gun, just like the real Colt 1911. And in fact, once you mod it or get it to its highest tier, the gun look actually does change, which is pretty neat. Not all mods have that. So as you can see, the base damage is 55. It uses a 45 caliber round. Fire rate is 73, range 119, which is actually pretty good for a pistol. Accuracy is 60, and weight is 73. So one thing I actually like to do right out the gate when I download a mod before I actually make a long commitment or make a deep commitment to using it throughout a series is I'm kind of curious about how it behaves in its stock form. So just to know, obviously this is semi-automatic, so if you pull the trigger, for the most part, it's going to stay where it goes. As you can see, it climbs up and a little to the right. Now, if you are faced with an enemy that's rushing you and you're kind of panicking fire, one thing to know with this gun is it has a lot of climb to it, which makes sense. It's a stock gun, right? So there is a sweet spot with this gun, and it's if you double tap. For the most part, the gun stays in a tighter circle, which is pretty cool. Pretty neat detail. Alright, so let's talk about what you can actually do upgrading wise with this gun without having any perk points into gun nut. So right out the gate, you could take the standard receiver and get it to harden, moving the damage from 55 to 65, which is pretty neat. And then ultimately, when you get gun nut 3, you can get it as high as 96, including changing the fire rate from the 70s to the 100s. The grip, you'll need gun nut 2, but you'll ultimately get better recoil and hip fire accuracy, and I'll showcase that later. The magazine, out the gate, you can get the quick eject magazine. Now, while this doesn't have a sight that you can actually upgrade with or mod onto it, I think you'll find that this gun is pretty accurate, especially the more you upgrade it. It's pretty impressive how accurate it is, even without a sight. So arguably my favorite thing about this gun is that you can actually add a suppressor on it from the get-go. It's pretty awesome, especially if you're working on a build that's favors silenced guns and you're trying to get all the multipliers you can, especially on like survival mode. So currently Clem Fandango is level 15. That's where, in my experience, I'm usually at by the time I'm leaving the broader northwest corner of the Commonwealth into like the Diamond Cities and then further south. So that's where I usually like to know what a gun can do early game. So that's where we're going to be doing. We're going to take the points that I currently have, put them into where I normally would put them. So a couple points into Gunslinger, a point into Lone Wanderer, a point into Bloody Mess, things like that. And then we're going to head out to Corvega, kind of like the first big dungeon that you kind of encounter, where there's a lot of enemies to engage. I'm also going to upgrade the gun to everything that I'm able to do without the gun nut perks. That's what I would do on survival mode anyway, especially early on when you're trying to get as much damage output as you can to fight off some of these early enemies. Again, the gun is very powerful with 45 caliber ammo, so you really don't need it. But I do want to showcase what a normal person like myself or yourself would do before you went to Corvega. So we're in front of Corvega. So here's how the gun is looking at the moment. We're able to get it to the hardened receiver, got a standard grip, quick eject mag, standard sights, and of course the suppressor. So technically we have 3 mods on it. The damage is 104, so the hardened receiver is obviously helping that a lot. But I put perk points into, we got 2 into Bloody Mess. Most people do that early on. 1 into Lone Wander. Most people do that early on. Couple into Sneak, 1 into Sandman, helping with the silence weapons, and then 1 into Ninja for the extra damage as well. So I know a lot of people usually go this route with this type of build when you're kind of doing a pistol, silence pistol, if you will. So with that said, let's go have some fun. Real quick, I am playing on very hard, just to kind of simulate what it would feel like to be on survival, FYI. So let me see if we can pick this guy off. There we go. You do have to focus up a little bit, obviously, to aim in. So one thing to really make sure with this gun is that you're reloading often, because you only have 8 rounds compared to like most pistols in this game. We have several rounds, obviously. See if I can get this guy. There we go. Now I did say this gun's impressive at range. I don't know about this kind of range though. Okay, here we go. That is a good example of, as long as somebody's standing still at this pretty lengthy distances, you can pick them off. Oh, he moved. Y'all see that? There we go. So everything out there was kind of rangy, mid to long range. Not quite the sweet spot for this gun. So now let me kind of show you how this gun performs up close. That was a nice hip fire. Sometimes there's a guy. Yep. I was gonna say to my left. There you go.
Think you can hide?
I think I can. Yup, here he comes. You at, bud?
It's getting worse. Another risk.
Alright, let's finish these guys off. Sneak attack on turret. See if we can get Jared. Is that his name, right? There he goes. 2-shot at Jarrett, which is nice. Another turret up here. This cat. Nice. Yeah, like I mentioned, gun is absolutely solid, especially once you get used to aiming without any type of reticle or big time like super assist with anything that you're able to aim down sight with. There are more enemies at that dungeon, but the whole point was to kind of showcase at short range, mid range, and then of course at distance. The sweet spot, of course, is at really close quarters to mid range. Gun can do the job at long range if you're in a tight spot and that's the only gun that you have, or maybe you're doing a gunslinger build and that's the gun that you're gonna rock with and roll with for a while until you get something with the better sight down the road. It does the job though. So now I'll show you actually what it looks like as an in-game gun with its mods and upgrades fully maxed out. So here's the gun in its final form. Like I mentioned before, you only need gun nut 3 to be able to fully max this bad boy out. And the cool thing is once you get the last receiver upgrade, it does add like this matted black sheen to it, which is pretty cool. Along with on the grip has like this little gold emblem or a little shiny pearl like type deal. And outside of that, here's what it actually looks like. Looks really, really neat, especially with the black matted look. And the when you reload, you can kind of see the that gold pearl on the side on the grip, pretty cool. Kind of a neat little visual knowing that you fully maxed the gun out. So here's what Clem Fandango thinks about this gun. Final review. Let's go over some pros. One, first and foremost, accessibility. Just like I mentioned, you can get this gun right out the gate. So it's pretty nice if you're starting a build from fresh and you're doing like a pistol um, build or a gunslinger build. Right out the gate, go to the chem station, out of the vault, you can get a 45 round or 45 caliber 1911 in your hands. You just got to run down to Trudy and or Trash Can Carla and buy some 45 rounds. Pretty neat. Second positive is power. By far, one of the biggest things with this gun is how powerful it is and how easily you can take down enemies early game. Especially when survival mode or if you're playing on very hard, early enemies are bullet sponges, notoriously bullet sponges. So it's nice that you can kind of counteract that with the gun early on. And the third thing is the upgrading. So by the time you're level 25, you have a 168 damage pistol in your hands, which is pretty awesome. And you don't even have to have gun nut 1, 2, or 3 to put the silencer on it. You can put it on immediately. So you can already take advantage of those early multipliers for being sneaky and having a silencer as well. Alright, so let's talk about cons. So one of the things that Clem Fandango definitely didn't like about the gun is the fact that there are very limited upgrades, which is sad to see. So there's no reticle options and there's no way to extend the magazine on the Colt 45. That said, it would look a little weird if you had a drum at the bottom of a 1911 Colt 45. So I kind of get maybe why they didn't do that for the look, aesthetics, and maybe keeping to maybe some lore details. But a reticle at least. There are some other 1911 Colt 45 mods that do have those accessories and options, but this particular one does not. And the last thing is really just the visual. Even though there is one pretty neat one, once you upgrade the receiver, it'd have been really cool if there was an option for a chrome dot one, a gold chrome one, maybe one with a wooden handle. And who knows, maybe the modders and texture guys might come back and make changes in the future, and but are just leaving it where it's at the moment. Which, to give the modders and texture guys some credit, one of the issues that this gun used to have is there used to be a gap between the suppressor and the pistol. That got fixed. And there used to be an issue with the gun bashing not working or the animation just stopping halfway and causing some frustration for people during the play. So hopefully this helps you make a little bit more informed decision about this particular gun and build and see if it actually suits what you're trying to do with your character. So that's it. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.